In this video, we'll talk about 7 of the most important ideas from the book Fooled by Randomness. So let's get started with the first one. We were playing poker the other night and I continuously won 3 rounds. Look at me, I proudly exclaimed to myself. I now know how to play big and win big. Well, or so I thought. Because by the end of the game, I had lost more than half of what I had started with. The same thing happened to me when I started trading stocks. After initial rallies, I thought I'm a capable investor, but in the long run, I ended up losing a large amount of money. So, the first lesson is don't be fooled by luck and know the difference between knowing something and just being lucky. The second idea is that theories are meant to be proven wrong. Some of you will be going like, what are you saying? Well, let me explain. The empirical science relies on a process called induction. That is, we infer things about the world based on our observations. Thus, from seeing hundreds of white swans, we may infer, incorrectly, that all swans are white. But no amount of observations of white swans can allow the inference that all swans are white. However, the observation of a single black swan is sufficient to refute the conclusion. Now, this is how scientific community grows. The existing theories evolve into a new one. Now, how does this apply to your regular life? Your financial advisor may ignore an advice saying that, well, this has never happened before, but he may wake up to an unpleasant surprise, and so can your funds. The next idea is that the survival of the fittest is a lie, at least for non living things. The best example for this is the QWERTY keyboard that we use. Now, this was designed just to avoid old typewriters from jamming and is definitely not the best we can come up with. Then why don't we have the best possible version? Laziness. We are satisfied with a suboptimal solution. A lot of people have adopted it and now no one wants to get into the whole keyboard business again until it's absolutely necessary. Having said that, let me introduce you to an interesting behavior that we all unknowingly, unconsciously exhibit. Let us say you are building a sand castle and you are about to add an additional grain of sand to it. What do you expect will happen? Well, the castle will grow incrementally, right? But in reality, an incremental addition can have a huge impact. A single grain of sand can cause the entire castle to tumble, and this tipping point is hard for us to predict. Similarly, even inadequate products may come to dominate the market because they had passed the so called tipping point. Microsoft is a classic example where people are using it because there are other people who are using it. Or, in other words, it has crossed its tipping point. Now, this is how overnight success happens, right? You put in hours and hours of effort to see no result, and one day you wake up and bam, you see the fruits of your hard work all of a sudden. Life is unfair and non linear, and the best do not always win. The fourth idea is something we all love to do take shortcuts. And this is not our fault. Evolution has programmed our brain in such a way. Today, if you were in a jungle in front of a lion, you wouldn't stop to think if the lion is really hungry or if he maybe is in a generous mood before you ultimately take the decision of whether you want to stay there or run. Evolution has programmed us to run the hell out of there. Your brain at times cuts through complicated arguments which involves considering all the points rationally, and it dives into a conclusion. If it were not for this, you will most likely be dead in the above case. And this is the nature of our brain that remains the same even if you are not in a do or die situation. But we must understand when these shortcuts need to be avoided. We must not let our brain prevent us from making calculated decisions when rational thinking is the need of the hour. The next idea connects emotional and rational thinking. The author suggests emotion overwhelm our rational thinking, but they help us make decisions. This is one of my favorites. Consider a donkey who is equally hungry and thirsty, standing equidistant from both food and water. If he is purely rational about what to do, in theory it would die of both hunger and thirst, unable to decide which one to pursue first. So, emotions at times act as our impulses and they help us make decisions. But there are times when we need to keep our emotions aside and use our rational thinking. For example, if you are an investor who is prone to act irrationally while incurring losses, you should try and avoid looking at the performance of your portfolio until it raises a predefined alarm. Just how a teacher should keep her emotions aside while correcting the paper. The next idea that many of you will know about is hindsight bias. In retrospect, past events always seem more predictable than they were at the time. Especially true with stock market analysis. With enough data, you can find a pattern with anything, even when it does not exist. How many times have you found yourself saying, well, I almost saw that one coming, or I'm not gonna fall for such a trick again? Probably a lot of times. Gamblers' trick are manifestations of this effect. For example, if a trader wins on a day he wore glasses and a green shirt, he will probably start wearing the same outfit, perhaps unconsciously. And the final principle. We are poor at understanding the impact of a rare event. Say you're playing a game where you have 999 out of 1000 chances of winning $1 and 1 out of 1000 chances of losing $10,000. It is a basic human tendency to base decisions on what is likely to happen, but in this case it would be a costly mistake. Though it is highly likely to win $1, but a disproportionately larger loss that you may incur every thousandth time means that the expected outcome of each round is a loss of $9,000. Even an experienced investor will fall into this trap where they win small and lose big. Same with taking an appropriate health insurance. Many people don't take this thinking, why pay a premium every year? What they fail to realize is that the gain in terms of security outweighs the intermittent loss. Let me know what you think about the video in the comments below, and if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel to feed your hungry.